Hi everyone, welcome to Courage 20. This is another episode of DM Interview. Today we're here with my friend Zach, who's a player in my campaign, and my friend Josh's campaign. And we're also here with my friend Josh, who's my original DM, and I'm currently playing in his campaign, and he is also playing in one of my campaigns. Today's another episode of DM Interviews, but today we're calling it DM Interviews After Hours. We're basically getting together and just talking and just shooting the shit. Excuse my language.
We a little lit.
We
We a little lit.
Please don't censor us, you two. Zach, earlier we were talking about how you've never really felt like you connected to any of your characters you're playing. And as far as I know, you're playing two different characters, wildly different characters, right? In my campaign, you're playing Calathar, who's a barbarian, who's a fire genasi flavored as a human with a curse, right?
Yeah.
Barbarian character. And in Josh's campaign,
So
you're playing
on the counter, you have this beautiful humanoid rat character. Like, I mean, just because they have a specific look, how would you describe this?
He's
I
not
just
slender, but he's 6 foot tall and young.
And as the way you described my campaign, he believes in God. So one could say, sorry to blaspheme here, but but Jesus Christ. If
that is what I've been referring to him as.
Josh, as a Christian, I don't think that's blasphemous at all. I think that's hilarious as crap, dude. Jesus Christ.
With like the theme the character came in and the puns naturally there, it was too on the head to not.
I mean, I did already call Sung, who was my great.
Sung is different characters, a different player's character in Josh's campaign, right? We have between our party, there's us three and then two other players. There's two different campaigns going. One of them's like 2 sessions away from ending, and then we have my campaign who's just starting. So there's like an overlap between
players,
characters, DMs, and whatnot.
Sorry, you were saying Skip.
I mean, Sung, he was basically my disciple, and in that last session we had, I called him Judas when he wasn't going to be on my side.
That's fair. It's just I forgot. Some of the parallels have just been just storyline wise, narratively have been really satisfying. I'm not gonna lie. The balance between the two characters has been very different. Like, it's fun to have. You have this kind of zany, quirky character that's, there's some levity in this character and the funness, but definitely a more like evil, scheming, like he's a rat. He's a rat. Like, he's like
figuratively and literally.
I like to think he's more like Bowser Jr. than like Bowser. You know what I mean? Like, he's a little more mischievous than he's evil, but I don't know. Seems like he's been getting more evil than mischievous. But anyway.
So as we bring it up, that character Skip is very different than Calathar. Calathar in my campaign is like this brooding, gigantic, man on fire barbarian. Skip is upfront, like, I don't care. I don't give a fuck about you. And Skip is like a spellcaster sorcerer. How do you, when you like play my campaign, you're like, I'm gonna be this like brooding barbarian, and then you play Josh's campaign, you're like, I'm this mischievous spellcaster.
Like,
how do you make that switch?
I've seen you kind of do the like Palpatine, like power kind of vibe. So it's but like the difference is pretty awesome. So like, I don't know. Obviously, there's more layers to your characters, but how they've been presented is so different. It's really fun. So I don't know how you feel about it, but I found it interesting how you portray.
So I think from a gameplay standpoint, I don't think they're really that different at all. I mean, when I play Calathar, the idea is I'm going to go in there and I'm going to hit things really hard. And I guess I really just don't care if I get hit. And then with Skip, it's like, I'm going to place myself behind someone that's going to get hit really hard. And then I'm going to hit things really hard with range. So same character, but
you're talking.
But I feel like that's more like mechanically how you're.
Yeah, gameplay.
I was thinking the same thing. Like gameplay wise, You're playing them roughly the same, but roleplay wise, they're completely different characters. So how do you make that switch?
That is where I think I struggle the most. I don't think I connect with Kalathar that well. I think most of my interactions has just been intimidating things until he gets his way. But other than that, I don't really feel like I know how to play Kalathar.
Okay, so let me ask a question, Jocelyn. And if you have anything to interject, please do. Kalathar, I'm the DM to Kalathar, and you're the DM to Skiff.
Mhm.
So you saying you're connect to Skiff better than you do to Kalathar. Is there something as a DM I could do to help you connect to your character better? Because it seems like you're connecting to your character fine in his campaign, but in my campaign, you're saying that you have a hard time relating to the character that you're playing. So is there anything I can do to help with that?
I don't think there's really anything you can do. I think it's just me needing to be in the mindset for Kalathar. And I would say, even with Skiv, I'm not as connected to that character as I am as my character Bully from the one shot we played for Christmas. I mean,
The one shot for Christmas, like what is it, April? Like that was 4 months ago. You'd be like, that's your best character.
I think that
To be
is
fair,
the
that was
best
that was
character.
my first interaction with me DMing, and well, really like
That's right. You DM'd the one shot. So
I DM'd it with you. We DM'd together and kind of collaborated the story, which was really fun. And
that's a different video for a different day where we co-DM.
but it was my first experience with him as a player, and that character was really fun because he brought, for a story that was so simple, he brought a character that had fun, had like role play in it, and
So should I just kill off Kalathar like you're bully?
it's just I guess my question be is like, do you feel it's connected more because like sometimes I have characters that I feel like I can connect to and I can get in a mindset a lot easier than others. For example, like when I play my Bonnie, yeah, I have to put sunglasses on to get like my voices down, but I feel like I can be a little Sherlock Holmes investigator a little better. When I was playing my Minotaur, if I wasn't feeling confident that day, I wasn't feeling like a barbarian Minotaur that's a war general kind of thing. I'm not going to say, puffing up my chest, do all these.
What was his name? Tab? I forgot about
Talos
it.
Katana.
Yeah, I forgot about your
It's funny because the name Tab came out in VG3 like a month after I really named
I
it.
swear, his character name was Tab
It was okay.
before PG3 came out.
Tavros, to be fair, Tavros, because Tavros means bull in Greek, but we put Tav for short, so I was definitely sitting there like, get out of here. But anyways, yeah, that one. If I didn't feel very good that day, like there's days I came in and I was like, this is, it's just gonna be tough.
So that means
So I was gonna ask you, does it come from a place of like, is it hard for you to do certain types of interactions? Like I didn't feel very intimidated. I don't think I am really intimidating and like brutish kind of person in general. So it was hard for me to do those kind of interactions, while other characters that are more silly or more, I don't know, either quirky or I don't know. I have other characters I just feel like I can get into them a lot better.
No, I really get where you're getting at. And I used to think that was why I wasn't as connected with Kalathar, who was my very first character in D&D. And I think now that I've played 3 characters, I mean, you've talked about like role playing with like the capital and lowercase r, where there's the acting and then actual role playing. And I think the the acting part made me connect better with my character and engage with them better, because like Bully was super outgoing, he was very extroverted, very exaggerated,
yeah, bully. Yeah,
and that is not me at all.
Sir, you bullied the principal of the entire school.
we should have recorded the one shot. That was.
I'll be honest.
Shot.
When I'm sitting there, like okay, and then of course like you roll incredibly high, and I'm just sitting there, just like, yeah. So your dad is the owner of the school, like, or like the head funder, and there's some pressure on this principal. Of course, you're not like his boss, but uneasy pressure from a kid to a, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
And
it
so
was fun. It was really fun.
I think where, because Bully had I had a voice, the New Yorker, and I think that helps.
What
me.
neighborhood? Do you know what neighborhood?
He's definitely from the Bronx.
Okay.
But I think that really helps me in the role playing aspect because the acting got me more into that character, which is why I think I do a little bit better with Skiff because I have a specific voice for Skiff. It's that.
Can I interject here? So I've always described, and I took this from Matt Cole. Please go watch his video on how to role play. I've always described uppercase R role playing and lowercase R role playing. And like lowercase is like using the voices, acting out as your character, like being animated as your character.
Yeah.
And like, did I say lowercase? And then uppercase is always like just making the choices and decisions your character would make, even if it's not what you as Zach would make, right?
Yeah.
So you're saying lowercase R helps you be uppercase R.
Yeah. And
Okay.
Calthar is like the only character that I play that I don't have that with. And like I remember early on, I'm like, I think the like voice I'm gonna try to go for to like help me be more engaged was Captain Price from Call of Duty, and I've never done it.
I get you there because I've had certain voices for certain characters, and I got there, and I was like, I don't have that in the bag, and I tried practicing it, and I was just sitting there, and it's like, no, I can't do that. And then there's other ones like, you guys hadn't done this, but I have these one shots, and I needed like sportscasters. There's a battle royale, and I did a kind of like out of
Oh, I have a character for your battle royale. They just never got to play.
that's fair, but I could do like out of screen, like what the demons would see if it was like a TV kind of thing. Not the character would care, but like if it was a TV show, what they see. And I wanted 2 sportcaster voices that they could hear over the thing.
Right.
And I was thinking, what are the most ridiculous casters you could have? So I was like, well, I need a loud, crazy voice. And pardon me, I did like a. You can imagine who this is, but I got kind of crazy voice. He kind of talks like this a little bit, and very hard, fresh, and quick, snappy kind of voice. So I did one of those to be an exaggerated, like the classic, sports commentator. And of course, I wanted a counterpart that was totally different. And I don't have great voices. I just want something to look different and silly for mine. Mind you, I'm not great at this, so I just was like, well, so excuse me, just kind of went for the nerdiest thing I had. I wish I had better options, but sometimes if I can do things, I just play with what I have because I can do things. In that sense, they're not good. They're not good, but it's what I feel comfortable with. So that helps me do that. If I have another character like some big demons, sometimes I can't talk like a big demon and do like, I listen to heavy metal, but I still can't growl and stuff. So like, I'll just be like the demon is saying, I'll say it in this voice and try to, so as a DM, just try to like bring the tempo and like the feet tension in the room to rise, but I got no voice for that. You know what I mean? So it's hard to get into those characters sometimes. So I can understand if you don't have a voice, it's tricky to get into that mindset. Maybe finding the voice is one of the keys.
Well, first of all, you should all check out our video on how to get into character for a D&D session. It's on our channel right now. I thought it was a great a ton of advice. I have 2 questions for you now, Josh.
Okay.
1, you've been a player and a DM.
Mm-hmm.
Which is easier to prepare to role play for?
If I have NPCs I like, then it feels fine. For example, like DMing is fine-ish. But there's been some times like, I have big sessions coming up. Like, okay, recently we got one of the finales, and you guys kind of made some choices that made me get to a session a little bit earlier. And I've had a whole speech from the villain planned on before, and I'll be honest, I had left it home. I thought I didn't think we'd get there, but we got to that point. So I kind of just had a riff, and I wish there was more because I still have some other things I will tell you in the finale, but there's some things I wish I could have elaborated deeper, but we just got to that point. So like that was really tricky because I'm trying to tell a 3-year-long story in a moment. And I just kind of had to prepare it on the fly because I'll be honest, I didn't expect to move that fast.
That's crazy because without you telling me that, I wouldn't have ever known that. It felt the story and the characters, like the bad guy's monologue, felt perfect with what you gave.
I've had stuff right. I was writing at home, but you guys literally, like, you guys made some super smart choices.
The conch thing? Are you talking about the conch?
you guys essentially just
I love getting over on my DM.
you guys teleported right out of the battle and engaged into an event that was supposed to happen after you guys got there. And you guys can see like the fallout of it. So I kind of had to recreate all these things, and I kind of knew there was potential of these things beforehand, but I kind of had to recreate those on the fly. So I had to kind of remember my speech in that moment. So like that was super tricky. But sometimes if I had like simple NPCs, I know what they're gonna sound like, and that stuff is easy. But I don't know. Sometimes like I said, it's the comfort in the character. It's not so much for me, at least in my experience. It's not the whether I'm DMing or playing the character. It's the comfort I have within those characters. Sometimes DMing, I have simple characters I can go to easily. Like I said, those weird voice casters because they're simple characters, and that might be easier. But then some days I might really feel like my Donnie bounty hunter character, so it might be easier to hop into that. But someday I might not feel like that. So it's really for me, it's more character specific than role specific. Sorry to drag that along.
No, that kind of leads me into my second question though. Like, you're saying like when you played Tab, if you weren't feeling really confident that day, it was hard for you to get into this like brooding warrior type, right? So like you're, I guess, is this I don't know if this is a question or just like a statement. Like, how often does Josh's personal feelings for the day affect, or Zach's personal feelings for the day affect how you guys play your characters? Because like I also agree. It is way easier for me to DM if I woke up feeling good, if I feel like my personal life is in order, if I feel like, yes, I'm prepped enough, I have enough stuff set up, I'm on time. If I feel confident, I'm way easier to DM.
Mhm.
And if I feel like a little less confident, I'm like, I just want to play a character and then just fall into somebody else's campaign, right? Sorry for the camera, right?
But
It's like, how often do your personal feelings affect how you guys play D&D? Whoever wants to answer first.
Yeah, sure. I mean, for me, it has not made any difference at all.
Really?
I can be super low energy, whatever, or I could be, you know, waiting all day. Like, when is D&D? When is D&D? I can't wait to get there.
because it's such an escape, or is it because
I think it's just the game. It's like, yep, I'm sitting down. This is playtime, and here we go.
So you're like your personal feelings don't matter. You can make that switch. Like I'm Calthar or I'm Skip or I'm
I don't even think it's like I'm this character. It's like it's D&D time.
Yeah.
And we're playing.
I sometimes the stress can be there more of trying to be there. Not like the stress of trying to get into a character is more when I'm a DM than a player because I want to, since I have more players, as a player, I still want to be really cool to my DM and give them a cool experience of what my character is and how it interacts in their world. However, as DM, I have a lot of more players I feel like I'm responding to. So I feel more responsibility to try to role play so they can feel a world that's more interactive and livened. So that's where maybe I feel more stress from. It's not that it's harder. I feel more pressure in that sense because I really want to give my friends the best experience I can give them in the best world. I'm not saying that that is what is required, but I tend to put those pressures on myself more when I'm as a player. Sometimes if I'm not feeling as much, I'm like, well, even if I'm not feeling the role play, like the smaller role play, even if I'm not feeling as much, I know my character and I know the decisions he'd like to make, so I can still contribute that way to the table without feeling like a detriment. You know what I mean? And plus, we have a lot of pretty loud and cool voices at the table that if one day I'm not feeling too like outspoken, I can kind of be like, okay, today I might be a little more under the radar. And if I day feeling a little better in that sense, I'll do that. But I don't feel like I have to. I don't feel like I have to compromise my characters and role decisions on my emotions, like some of big R role play. But the smaller role play, that one tends to be a hit based off sometimes my energy, confidence.
right? Because like I've uppercase role played a lot. Where I've just been like, my character does this. My character wants to go talk to this guy. My character would attack this person, right? And like I definitely just upper R role play when I'm low energy, and then I bring in the acting or the smaller role playing when I have the more energy. Where I'm like, when I act out what my character would do. Like there's definitely like when you killed my character last session, I like lay down on the ground and like my character would drop his weapon like this like And if I didn't have the energy, I'd be like, yeah, I think my character would just.
Which, by the way, your smaller role play is.
I appreciate
Yes.
it. I hope my my uppercase role play is also top.
Just saying. So like, as I've seen you, so just seeing on that, like I've seen you kind of develop this character as we were kind of like learning D&D and whatnot.
2.5 years, my first character ever.
I've seen you kind of develop this character, and then talking since we kind of gave you a story. We talked about like the story device we want to use for your campaign, and we ended up giving you this magic weapon that kind of is like a narrative device for your character.
Yeah, right.
We're not going to give the lore of it, but it's the character.
That's a whole different video.
The character and the weapon definitely kind of have a united story kind of thing. So like just seeing how you taken that, its place in the world, how you take it in like big art stuff, so like how he interacts in the world, but then also his personality, and not his personality just in general, like how he started, how the experiences have affected him. Like there was a moment you say he was so depressed, you're like you had me making roles for his alcoholism just to see if he got exhaustion and stuff, just because you were feeling like his character was that deep in the dumps of like trauma and whatnot. So like I always thought it was really cool how to see not just how you played him on a superficial social interaction level, but also how you took the events of his story and had him not just be a character that goes hacks and slash, but have many dimensions. He has ups, he has downs. There's things he's done that he is happy about, things that haunt him. You know what I mean? And that's what I end up loving about you guys' characters in a lot of stories. That like they have many dimensions. It's not just like I'm a hero and I'm good and there's the bad guy. It's more just like, oh man, this world's crazy. Like I have done some good things, done some kind of questionable things sometimes. Generally, still a good, like in this case, a good guy. But it's fun to see how you interact and give your character a dimension within those worlds. I think you've done a great role. Which having me kill that last time was, I'm not gonna lie, that was one of the most brutal things I've done.
I'm gonna say the
God
best.
damn it! Why'd you have to make him do the best? See, in the scenario, like I had to kill him, but you did it. The scenario that made it happen was, of course, a decision only perfectly made, not by you, but by your character. You know what I mean? And how that aligned was like, it was just too perfect.
So
Horribly sad.
I'm gonna say the most nerdiest thing I've ever said. He killed my character last session. Power word killed him, right? Because anybody who knows D&D knows like there's no saves, there's no death saving throws, right? Like
It was supposed to go to the king.
but my character's a knight is a king, so there's absolutely no way he's gonna let his king die, right? Like there's just no way that my character would ever let the king die if he could help it, right? I shed a tear. I was trying not to cry at the table. I cried in my bed after the session. Like I've been this character for almost 3 years. It's hard to like watch me go, right? But I have a question for you and you. Like it's two questions.
It was. I'm not gonna lie. I'm sorry, but it was when you made the action that made me have to do the choice of throwing that power word kill, especially being like one from the finale. I was sitting, and I remember just being like looking at you, be like, "No, you realize if you succeed, you know what's gonna happen, right?" And you're like, "Yeah, that's what he would do." I just sat there and like gave you a look of like, "Don't, buddy, don't make me do this to you. Don't."
But, like, that's what I'm
don't
talking
make
about.
me do this
Like,
to you.
to
I love
me-
this character.
to
You
me-
son of a bitch.
Like,
I love
I don't want to talk myself up maybe at all, but like that's
No,
upper our role playing. I knew if my character died and nobody was there to like bring my character from the dead, I'm done. I don't get to play this game anymore, right? Because we're one session away. I'm not going to roll a new character for one session.
Oh no, I got something. I have something.
But
Bitch, you think you're not gonna be in the finale? I have something.
but my
I'm like,
character,
okay, great.
but Aiden, he doesn't know that. And Aiden 100% would not let his king die if there's anything he could do about it. So he made that choice to do what he did and take the power would kill, right? But I have a question for you guys, right? And it's like a two-part question. One, as your player,
Mm-hmm.
how could I be better at role playing? And then you, as your DM, how could I be better at role playing and world building for you? Whoever wants to go first, go ahead.
You go first.
I just have one word I think you should elaborate. I think you're great. I just think, and I say it in the nice thing, just have more fun in the moment and believe in yourself. You have a really cool world. and you have really cool ideas and voices, I think at your best when you're sitting there, you're like, I'm gonna go for it. Because when you go for
Are
it,
you talking about me as a player or me as
no,
a DM?
well, both really. But even as a DM, I've been seeing some sessions that you're like, oh, I feel really like I can do this mischievous character, and you go for like a trickster or spirit or like even whatever the vibe is. I just think you just need to go solid. Go.
Uh,
Just keep committing.
So commit. You're basically wrapped up in one word, commit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to think on this. I think you're gonna.
Oh
have to
damn!
go
I was.
first.
I don't want to talk too much, so I was trying to pass it over to you.
Josh, I don't get you in videos often, dude. Please keep talking,
I
dude.
was sitting here.
Like,
I was.
I think I've never had you in a video on my channel, and you're the guy who taught me what D&D was.
Yeah, but I mean, we kind of learned together because, like, dude, I mostly learned, and I played like a D&D and then Pathfinder combo, and I learned at a horrible table, if I'm being honest. I had like two players that were new players, but they understood the kind of the role play. We didn't even care about the mechanics as much more, but we were kind of learning how to interact with worlds and stuff. And it was I had fun because of them, but the rest of it was a kind of rough experience. But I saw the potential, and I was like, this could be a fun game. It's gonna have them run it for us, and then when it didn't happen, I was like, well, let's just give it a shot. These guys seem like cool people. If everyone gets immersed enough, why couldn't this be fun? And little by little, it ended up being really cool. You know, we found these characters, built everything up. So like, dude, everything has been on the fly learning with you guys. You know what I mean? Watching videos. I mean, I did watch videos and like learn about all this stuff over the years too. But like a lot of stuff was learning on the fly and then thinking like, what's cool and then how do I rule this and how reading, watching videos. Shout out to like, god damn it, I don't even know how many like creators I'd have to fucking shout out this.
Dude, like,
It's like
Pointy Hat, XP to level 3,
The
DM layer.
the Monkey DM Shorts,
Yeah.
the Dungeon Dudes.
You guys have all inspired us to start our channel and inspired us to play. Big shout out to all of you guys.
Shit, fucking Dimension Training, brilliant, Brandon Lee Mulligan, even just like how they
do
built
Critical Role.
Yeah, like it just it's one of those silly lists, but like you know I just thought the worlds they were building were really cool and the potential of it, and I don't know that's what enamored me to the game. So it was really cool to figure out these worlds and build these worlds with you guys because like I didn't even understand DMing fully. Picked up the DM manual, player's handbook, and I bought the campaign that was suggested we were going to play. Which in hindsight, I would pick the more linear campaign. Oh my god, having the like. If
You
anyone,
picked Storm King Thunder,
yeah, which
seems like the most unlinear campaign
no,
possible.
and of course, I wanted to tie every character and backstories and everything into it. And we did fully session 0. We did it the most chaotic way possible. But the way we've slowly tied everything has been beautiful. It's been
done a great job.
it's been great. But like I said, it's all been like a on the fly job. So like us DMing, like us playing and DMing now is like much better. Like I imagine even right now, like, you've been playing a little less than us, but what's it called? I don't know if even a couple months you feel more confident playing versus when you were first playing.
Yeah, I mean, so we started playing Strahd in October,
Right.
so
Yeah.
you know, not terribly long, and I think a big thing that really pushed me as a player to get more engaged was actually watching some of Dimension 20 because
Shout out Dimension 20, Brandon Lee Mulligan. You guys have inspired all of us. And yep.
I guess my idea in my head was like it was much more of a game, right? It was like, is it my turn? What do I do on my turn? And watching players interact with each other and interact with the DM made me realize that this isn't a reactionary tale. This is a group storytelling game.
Okay, so I have a I
There's
have
no
a
Star King's Thunder without the entire players at the table. And even with like, for example, you guys as a late edition, it was a little challenge. I was like, okay, how am I going to spin a couple things? But it's been super fun because I even get about to add more layers to the story and dimension to layers to the story. So like, it's just it's just been really fun. Sorry, you're saying.
I have actually, if I can cut in, a question for both of you. What brought you into D&D and what kept you in D&D? So what was the initial thing that was like, I want to try this game? And then what about the game was like, yes, this is a game I want to, because I'm gonna admit, like, I'm addicted to it. This is, if I can only pick one hobby over jujitsu, over going to the gym, over bike riding, over paintballing, over guitar playing,
Yeah.
D&D would be my one hobby I pick over all of them, right?
Yeah.
So what about this game enticed you and then hooked you?
So I think what really got me enticed on D&D is when you were kind of having your down periods where you weren't able to play.
Right. Okay. I want to cut you off real quick. We've had two players, and I'm not naming names, David. I mean, not naming names, who have never been able to play his campaign. And eventually, I got so tired of it. I was like, screw it. I'm starting my own campaign. Okay.
Hey. But there's been a lot of troubles. I got a tattoo to Spirit Bomb that other campaign back.
And after this next session, I'm getting the tattoo
Are you
too.
gonna get tattoos?
I said I would get the tattoo too. Okay. Anyway,
I'm not gonna show it on camera, but there is a jar of pickles with pickles and D&D type.
I will get this.
on my leg. Maybe some reveal at some point, but I gotta take off my pants.
We hit 50 subscribers. He'll review the tattoo. Okay. I will get the same tattoo should we ever finish his campaign. Anyway.
We're like one away. Don't feel like that.
Anyway. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, you were always talking about it. You're like, you talked about the campaign. You talked about different campaigns that you'd like to run. You talked about different D&D books that are really cool. And, I've always known about D&D, but I've never really looked into it. And it was just you talking about it because it was something that was special to you. And I'm like, yeah, I will.
You
If
know.
you're gonna run this
He's breaking
campaign,
my heart, dude.
if you're gonna run this game,
I realize in the chat.
Oh, man.
If this was my I would just be idea.
Yeah, dude, he's like, you're making me feel so sad, like so happy right now. Like you're basically saying I'm the one that got you in D&D.
yeah. So I mean, you're like, I'm gonna run a game. So if you want to be a player in my game, you can be a player in my game. I'm like, awesome. Let's help me with characters. What am I fucking doing?
You were a dope player, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to write a story. And I was like, I'm not gonna do that for people that aren't gonna be invested and want to put in time and not give the energy. And I was like, I mean, at that point, I barely knew you, man. If I'm being
I
honest,
think I met you like 3 times before we started.
we
playing
had like at a fight night, a
Yeah.
couple one shots, and then like at a Dave's barbecue or something,
Yeah.
or something, stuff like that. And I was just like, but this guy's really cool, and I barely know him, and he brings a lot of energy to the table, and he's really cool, and he also brings me chips when I'm DMing. I mean, by the way,
I bring snacks.
yeah.
Bring your DM snacks.
I actually I need to send you some money for the food today, but
No, today was fight night. It was good.
no, either way. But anyways, yeah, you were a cool player, so I was like, I'm gonna write a story for this dude because, yeah, dude, it's the energy you're gonna put into the table. A lot of times get reciprocated back, and if you have plot problem players and other stuff, that normally ends up weeding itself out either way. We actually had great groups this whole time. Like I don't think we've had
players come in and out, but they've all been great players while they were there.
Yeah, we haven't had like a murder hobo come in and just be like,
Dylan.
well, okay. Not, but
Honestly, though,
not in the brutal
his
sense.
old character was Murder Hobo, but he's playing his new character way different, so he's pretty good about it.
That's fair, and that's right. He was a little newer too,
Yeah.
but I mean, either way, it's it's cool. So
Okay, so what? So I really appreciate all the kind words you've given me. Like, if I'm the one that got you into D&D, what about D&D was like? Yes, I'm gonna make this like. Because we play every weekend, whether it's Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. We get together and we do it. Since October, we've missed 1 week, and that's because we basically all of us went to Vegas or
we all had we literally had that weekend. And it's like, and it was kind of weird how we all coincided. We're like, wait, you're leaving that weekend? Yeah, I'm leaving that weekend. I'm leaving that weekend. So you tell me we only have to cancel 1 weekend, and
so like
all happened.
besides this one
scheduled.
weekend, now we all were like, we're gonna go party in a different state.
Yeah,
We've played every weekend since October.
Yeah.
So what about playing was like, yes, this is something I'm going to commit 3 to 5 hours to every weekend.
I think there's a few things. One, D&D is really fun, right?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
the game itself is just really fun.
Right.
Second, and this might help that we play in person, but it's this group coming together and like just the bond that we have. And not only are we friends, but our characters are friends. And like, it's just this constant bonding. And then, I mean, we're always eating and snacking and sometimes drinking.
Yeah,
It's
goofing, gapping.
like I said, this channel is an unprofessional. It's a diary of unprofessional D&D players. We're not like Dimension 20 or
Well,
Critical Role.
For
like-
example, like on another level, with my schedule being, like in the kitchen chefing and whatnot, Dave, I used to work with every day. And it was also our detriment sometimes. We get into work and we'd be instantly, as soon as we had a moment, we'd be sitting there, I'd be cutting shots and be like, so if I made a bard that's herring god and made him like a really big fat bunny, would it be fitting if I call him the Notorious HOP? Shit like that, you know what I mean? And I miss all that stuff, but we have different jobs, different career paths. So like for me, apart from all that stuff, I get to see one of my best buddies all the time. And we get to do, on top of that, we get to do one of our favorite things. Maybe not cook as well. Sometimes we cook, so we get that too. But I get to sit there and be silly and talk nerdy things with one of my best buddies. And even better, we get to play a story and play out these silly ideas we had in the kitchen. You know what I mean? And we actually get to play them out with dice rolls, see what happens, whatever. So like that's my favorite part. And then additionally, meeting a bunch of cool new friends. Like, I mean, out of this game, we've built a whole new group of friends that like I never would have thought I've met. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we had only met a handful of times at some fight nights.
A couple times, and those. I mean, it was cool. We had good interactions, but it's fight nights with a lot of people, so it was always like, "What's up?
How's it going? Good
Okay,
night."
okay, question.
Can I hit your hate?"
I hate to be the guy that keeps leading the conversation, okay? But you mentioned something, and it leads me to another question. You said, I get to do I get to play a game like that's fun.
Yeah.
Or I get to do one of my favorite things. I guess what I'm trying to get at is, what makes D&D fun?
Oh.
What makes D&D one of your favorite things? What about this particular game? Because we can be getting together and playing Risk. We can be getting together and playing Monopoly. Poker. What about D&D is like, I'm going to show up every week and play this game with my friends.
On my end, obviously, it's seeing all my friends.
And you're coming from a DM and a player
For
perspective.
me, it's seeing all my friends. The untapped potential of story, because like it's cool. Like obviously, we're playing a big campaign, but like where there's other ideas of like like there's the fun ideas of what you can do in the world of like the decisions you make. And for example, you guys are a country rock band out of nowhere. Start figuring out royalties and like how you guys were producing records and like all these little things that I'm saying there, like this is hilarious. So like I like the little stories we're gonna tell collaboratively in the world we set to, and then what's it called? Yeah, you got me lost in the stories because you got me thinking about the rats gambling and all
So
the things.
is it basically
It's
just
the
like
untapped potential. You can be in one place at one moment. Sorry, I got it. Sorry to cut you off. Well, you could be like in the fair one moment, and then you can be in the Wild West one moment, and then I'm running an online campaign for a couple kitchen guys that are learning D&D pretty much. It's Reddit. If you want to join us, 11:30 p.m. to 1:30 in the morning, feel free.
I gotta work at
But yeah, and but we're in space right now, and they're in a fight. They're in a fight right now. They're rifting they're riding like the rift of a black hole right now, and
Wow.
trying to find treasure planet.
Wow.
So like that's an entirely different scenario.
Right.
It's fun, but like I don't know. In this scenario, it's fun with you guys because we built so much story that you get to see real emotion with these characters. Like
Yeah, like when you kill me.
yeah,
And I'm crying at the table in my house like a little pansy as my make-believe cat character just died. Yeah, no, I get it. I get it, Josh.
yeah, but okay. See, but then also the happiness. Like you guys, like we were talking about the nat 20s. Someone does, like you broke the chains and freed the king after not seeing him forever, and you roll
Hold on. I broke the chains after rolling 2 nat 20s on
back to back nat 20s. So I'm sitting there after he's been looking for this king for like the whole theme of the campaign, potentially. Spoilers, sorry, but anyways, for if anyone's playing Storm Kings, but he goes.
I'm gonna add it in a spoiler alert
Yeah.
right there.
But anyways, he breaks the chains off the king with 2 back-to-back nat 20s, and I'm just sitting there just in disbelief, like, what the hell? While everyone's exploding. I mean, it wasn't that nat 20, but then we've had some nat 20s where our boy Dave Pickles literally got up right off his seat, almost fell on his face just on sheer excitement. So like that part of the story, it's awesome to see how you guys take that story. You know.
So what about
That's my answer. I enjoyed
That
the
is-
story. I've seen the boys, the peeps, homies, whatever, and the unpredictably and untapped potential. You can do this, you can do that, you can bring a movie reference you like, whatever.
So can I try to sum up? It's getting together with some of your favorite people and telling an unpredictable story together.
Yeah,
What about you? What is
I think-
your answer?
Yeah,
I wish I was more
was-
concise.
I think I was going with the same thing with some slightly different wording, right? Like the reason that it's not Risk or Monopoly or say whatever game, right? Is this is a group storytelling game that is so unpredictable based on these dice.
Like I always tell people, like, why do you like D&D or why do you listen to D&D podcasts? I'm like, dude, it's like reading a book that nobody, not the author, not the characters, not the reader, nobody knows how the book ends. You just have to get to the end of the book to figure it out, right? I like playing D&D. One, I like the escapism, right?
Yeah.
Life is hard, right?
Yeah,
Like even if you have a good life is hard, dude. Like going to work every day, for trying to figure out how to provide for your family, trying to figure out how to pay bills,
slog.
right? It's just a thought. And then getting together with some of my favorite people, getting to go into like this different universe, different dimension, different world, where I get to be a hero. Or if I'm DMing, I get to be a bad guy, or I get to be a good guy, or I get to be a multiple different people. It's just nice. It's gonna sound really dumb. It's just nice to pretend to be somebody I'm not. My main character, Aiden, is the exact opposite I am. He's heroic.
You're
He's-
heroic. Get out of here.
Hold on, let me finish. He'll run first in the battle. He tries to save his friends. He's this lion. Like Aiden is who I wish he's like. Even if I do have some attributes of him, he's like the blown up version of who I wish I could be. Right? He gets to be a hero, and I get to go to work and make sure the job runs smoothly. Right? I get to get together with my friends and play this role. And then when I get to DM, I've always wanted to write a book, right? So I get to create this story that my friends help me in the moment write. Every decision you guys make, I'm like, oh man, how is this going to end up? Now, I don't know. I just have to try to write out this tree, like in our last DM interview that you asked me, like all these different branches. I have to ride these branches out with you, and hopefully the branches are enough branches for you guys to keep playing on. And it's like, it's just this like challenge and like this immersive storytelling that we all get to do together that brings us together.
And I think an underlying thing that we've all talked about, but haven't quite said, is it's the fantasy, right? Like, if you just think of fantasy in general, whether it's movies, whether it's video games, everyone loves fantasy because they're fantasies. And this is just a fantasy that we get to play and create together.
Okay, so we've all had people.
It makes sense. Sorry.
Right. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was like, no, that makes total sense. It's like you're able to bring, like, said, escape into these completely lost worlds kind of thing that are just, where do we want to go?
And not
Some look restrained depending what the DM has and everything.
right.
but-
Like I don't allow certain things in my worlds. You don't allow certain things in your worlds. Like just like between comfortability, we ought to be comfortable.
You're not gonna be like, we're in Stroud, and I don't know. I'm like, so I'm a space cowboy, and I'm
Right.
here, and I got my blicky, like,
Right. Like
you know, I'm just saying, like,
yeah.
and just read breathe the tone for the campaign.
Right.
There is moments for a space cowboy with a blicky, maybe not in Strahd.
So like I guess like another thing I was gonna I have a couple of different things to say and I'm trying like again I'm not trying to take over this conversation but like one thing like not only is it escapism but you can use D&D to help people with their characters heal from trauma or troubles that they're dealing with in real life. D&D is not therapy,
No.
but it can be therapeutic, right? So if you're struggling with a real world thing, or you're like, I've gone through this, I would like my character to go through this and like deal with it. That can help you deal with things in your own personal life, right? Like Aiden is cut off from his family. He's been exiled kind of from his tribe, and I don't have a lot of contact with my family back home, right? And him proving his worth is helping me heal through like it's helping me heal through my in my real life having to prove my worth to my family. Like I'm realizing through Aiden, that's not something I have to do. I know I'm worthy and it's their fault that they don't want to be part of my life, right? Another thing, I have another question for you
You're
guys.
more than worth it, buddy. So, but anyways,
Thank you.
but
Another thing.
but I hear you. Just I don't know. It's like it's not therapy, but I get it. So I've had actually one of the reasons I actually got into D&D was because one of my friends talked super highly of it, and I'll let him tell the story with his condition. It's really his tale to tell, but his condition it makes sometimes a lot of emotions very intensified. So when he had a great day at the table, man, he came back and it was awesome to see. Like he has having like I don't see him even get a little emotional. He was having a great fucking day. But when there's some bad days or there was interactions that he didn't want to go, it'd be rough. And it wasn't. It took him a while, and he kind of learned through it, and it was kind of nice to see that even though things didn't go the way he wanted, to learn that like okay, maybe not when things didn't go the way he wanted, but you can still enjoy the highs and the lows of the character. But it was hard for him. Like if his character died or some things drastically didn't go the way he wanted, he would come back home and it would wear on him, if I'm being honest. And it's totally fine. I understand that. So that's why I remember trying to say like it definitely isn't therapy. And I understand like you're gonna feel things, you're attached to these characters. Just feel the things, but also know that it's a story. Things happen. There's highs and lows, and sometimes you kind of have to learn how to savor those lows a little bit,
Right.
so those highs can be so elated.
Right.
Like that's why you can be so happy because that sad will be sad is what I mean. But try to draw that line. I'm not saying that you don't do it. I'm just saying just in general it can be hard to do sometimes, and even sometimes like this I've come not good energy just wanted to fumble something and then I would be like, okay, I might not roleplay, but I still know what my character wants to do and I'd be a good player kind of thing,
Right. No, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
But I'm happy that you've been able to explore some of those things because for me, I'm I would say since I'd say I get a little secure at times, it's been nice to be like, okay, I'm gonna organize this in front of a bunch of people and public speaking and like it helps you grow. It's helped me grow out of my shell generally, I feel like I'm a light voice, so it's helped me on that sense, and on a different experience, maybe not a character arc experience, but constantly being exposed to that, it's helped me in that sense.
So how would you guys convince like a quote unquote movie jock to play D&D? How would you convince like the guy who's like, I just play sports, I don't do nerds. Like if the guy was like, that's nerd stuff, I'm not gonna do that. Because I think that like everybody could get something out of D&D if they just gave it the time. So what would you say to somebody to try to convince them to play D&D?
I need you to play D&D so I can be happy.
Zach, I love you.
I need one more person so I can play.
I love you.
First go to them and you go to your closest jock friend and you go, are you my friend? All right, would you say we're close? You know what I mean? Like, you know me since kindergarten, right? Well, like I said, I need you to like, you're my happiness for life. It's not a campaign. It's a party of one. You at least need two.
Well, you can play accessible D&D.
No, you can't. You can't. I know, but honestly, I think so. I've talked to a lot of people, and some people that thought they wouldn't even enjoy it before. I think you need to understand the person you're catering to, because a lot of people think that some fantasy tropes are too hard. One of the things that helped me get even more into D&D was realizing that you could be a little silly with it and go different lanes. So that's why I say shout out to Brandon Mulligan, because he built cool worlds that do have depth and dimension, but also were insanely different. Like dude, the whole Crown of Candy world, the whole way they built the map and
Dude,
territories
Brandon
and
Mulligan
everything.
is so good.
Like I know it was a whole team and all those guys. Like I love that. But then how you could there could be some levity to it, but in even emotions within that sillier world, you know. And it didn't have to be just straight up like paladins are a certain way, and you know.
Dude, and
It-
it's flip over to his like fantasy high world inspire. So different.
So it showed me that I could cater fantasy to something I saw. So I could be like, oh, I could do a reference from movies that I like, or I've had an idea of setting of like doing something like this, and it's let me kind of cater those things. So since I'm able to cater for us and for you guys a little bit too, you know, I would say like whoever you're talking to, learn about them, and then see what stuff they like, and then be like, okay, well, I think there's a game that might work. For example, my current sous chef, he had a horrible D&D experience the first time he played when he was a kid. He's younger, and he always said it looks cool, and he's seen some like different shows of Critical Role before. He never wants to really play because he says it might be a little too much for him, especially because he always thinks it's very Critical Role-esque, which is it's amazing, but you know it's
Professional.
very professional actors and you know et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, well, what are you more comfortable with? And I'm not here to disclose his past life, but you know, Gangsters in Chicago was a little better. So I was like, well, what if I wrote a story about gangsters in Chicago? And it could be a little story, a little small thing. And he was like, oh, I could do that. And he's like, well, what if I had like a Southsider character and started talking about that? And immediately I got him all hooked in. And he went from like, no, I'll never play a paladin. I was like, well, why does it have to be a paladin? What do you want to play? And he's like, I'd play like a stealthy like rogue gangster dude. I was like, okay. And then you know, so I would say learn who you're talking with and their interests, and then see what you can do. You know, like for my current partner, she loves dinosaurs, and I was like, what if we went to Jurassic places? Jurassic
Can't
places.
say the name. 'Cause
It-
copyright.
Triassic places. Actually, the real era where those dinos are from. But anyways, actually, don't paleontologists don't kill me. But anyways, yeah, dinosaurs. And I was like, what if we went dinosaurs? And I was like, it doesn't have to be combat. There can just be, you know, cater differently. So immediately she was like, well, I could do dinosaur exploration. So I think cater to the people you're talking to.
Dude, that's a really good answer. That's a really good answer.
That's probably the best answer. The second answer I had was, you know, you gotta just wave those shiny little dice, get those goblin eyes rolling. That'll get some people hooked. I think I bought 9 pairs of dice in my first 2 minutes of D&D.
You like dudettes?
I like that gritty stuff.
Since the beginning of time, man has collected little trinkets.
The shinier, the better.
And if they jingle and jangle,
And something about glitter.
there's too many great dice out there right now. Dice people, you need to kind of cool it with the cool things out there. 'Cause
We would
Send me your
we
dice.
would mention any by name if anybody would sponsor us. Wink, wink.
I'm just gonna say either keep making dope stuff, and hopefully I can buy it, or stop making it that cool. Because there's some things lately that I've seen. I'm just like, get out of here. Yeah.
I guess like an off-topic thing. Is there a set of dice that you've seen that's like those are the ones I want? That you're like you saw the price tag, you're like I can't.
There's one set I still kind of have wanted that I'm like, damn, I wish I would have got. But up to now so far, the few that I have seen, I'm like, I've picked up, but I only have a few, and there were the few that I was like I sat there and probably was in the game store for like 20 minutes, just like even looking at other things to try to be like, no, I'll just get a book because I kind of need a book, and then kept running back and being like, you know.
Yeah.
But I have, and I've given away some of his presents to some players and stuff too. So I really only have I have a couple of cheap bets, but only really 2 nice sets right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember I saw this one set of dice. It was made from the bone of antlers from deer, and I was like, those are so cool. And then it had like a Nordic font on them. I'm like, not for $200.
Oh,
Not for 200.
Yeah.
if I get some sheds of property this year, do you know how to Dremel and stuff?
I have a very long time ago.
It's like, well, maybe damn it, I might have to get back into it. If I, now that giving me that idea, if I got enough sheds, if I made a set of at least, I don't think I'm not going to make a whole set, but if I made some D20s out of an antler,
That'd be really cool.
Pretty sick. Does anybody have any closing thoughts before we wrap this video up?
yeah, we go for a while. Sorry.
I think I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, just yeah, you bring really cool worlds. You made a really cool world and really cool player. He's we'll see how his story wraps up. I'm at the edge of my seat. I'm not gonna lie. It could not have made for a more tense finale. Let me put it that way.
I think I'm gonna be okay.
Yeah, I don't even want to say. I don't even want to say what's on my sleeves. Ah, gosh, God, it's
What's up your sleeve, Flower? Like I'm gonna come back to life. Everything's
no, it's gonna be a real, tense finale. I'm not gonna lie. If the game's gonna start, you're gonna be like somewhat sweating, and then you're gonna be sweating profusely.
Well, I know we haven't been recording sessions and posting them on our channel, but maybe we should do like a recap of the campaign and like a super deep dive of the recap of the finale for the channel at some point. So maybe you guys will hear about what happens to my character, his character, and what he does to us at the end. Thank you for watching Curse 20, and please catch another episode later on. Hi, everyone. Thank you for watching another episode of Curse 20. Please remember to like and subscribe and hit that bell button to keep up to date with future videos. Also, keep a lookout for our future Twitch channel. Have a good night and happy rolling.